What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to another episode. I'm Swiper Cam, and welcome to my channel. Y'all, there's been a bunch of things happening around the NBA, but as of today, September 27, 2021, Michael Porter Jr. has signed the 5-year max rookie extension for $172 million, up to $207 million if he makes an all-NBA team this season. But look, we got to talk about Aaron Gordon. We're going to talk about the implications for these two contracts, what we can expect from them in 2021, but also the next 3 to 5 years. What do the Denver Nuggets need to have a successful run at a title? Anyway, y'all, if you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the logo. Y'all know NBA season is ramping back up. We almost there. Training camp has started. Videos and content. What you've been waiting for is on the way. By the way, I got a Patreon now. I'm going to put exclusive content on the Patreon. It's the whole idea. We need to fund this channel, build it up, get better cameras, get better equipment. We're going to do all that. Go to my Patreon. Go to Swiper Cam at Patreon. Go ahead, give what you want to give, pay what you want to pay. Again, all this is going back into you, into the Swiper Game universe. Anyway, y'all, how do I feel? Michael Porter Jr., $172 million, $207 million, possibly with an all-NBA extension. This is the thing. If you are outside of the Denver world and you look at that contract extension, you might say that sounds like an overpay. Is he really worth it? He's in the second year of his career. It was really third year. Sat out the first year. In the second year of his career, he averaged 19 points a game, 7 rebounds a game, an assist a game. He didn't play great defense. If you outside the Denver Nuggets network and you looking at that and you saying, you know what, he was runner-up in most improved player of the year, but is he really worth a max deal? This is the thing. If you from Denver and you love Denver and you love Jokic and you love Murray, you already know how it go. They paid Nikola Jokic before he was ever a superstar, gave him a max deal. They paid Jamal Murray before he ever took an all-star leap or really showed in the second year of the playoffs that he was there, that he could put 50, 42, and 50 together. They pay their players early because they want them to understand that if you do your job, you show up, you show potential, but also you work, you go hard in the weight room, you go hard off the court, you go hard on the court, you vibe with Coach Michael Malone, Tim Connolly, and the rest of the organization, you buy into a winning, selfless culture, we're going to pay you. We're going to reward you for your services. That's how Tim Connolly has always been. That's his MO. So it's worked out. Good. We drafted the 41st overall pick in the 2014 draft. He was starting December 15, 2016 and changed the franchise forever. After that point, he was averaging like essentially 18, 10, and 6. I mean, it wasn't nothing crazy. It was great, but it wasn't like we were seeing 26, 11, and 8. Nobody had any idea that he had that in his bag, but we knew he was special. So you pay him early, and you do the same thing with Jamal Murray. Jamal Murray, he went to the playoffs and was one of the best players across the board in the playoffs, in the 2020 playoffs. So this is what it is. Now you got Michael Porter Jr. Michael Porter Jr., as you already know, I've been high on Michael Porter Jr. since he came out of high school. Number 1 player in high school, Gatorade Player of the Year. Went to Missouri, was supposed to be a top 2, top 3 pick in the NBA draft in 2018, but he falls because of a back injury. But here's the thing. Michael Porter Jr. has done everything asked of him since he arrived with the Denver Nuggets. He's done everything asked of him by Michael Malone. All the stress on his defense, he's worked on it. If you watch the film, his improvement from his rookie year to the second year was great. Now, again, he still has mental lapses sometimes where he doesn't understand the game of basketball, but that's going to happen. But night after night after night, he gives great effort. He shows up and he does what's asked of him. And he's understanding the game better each and every day. And Michael Porter Jr., just scour the internet. Search the internet. You can find some Michael Porter Jr. highlights, him working out, him training, but you need to hear him talk. The interview that he did with JJ Redick for JJ Redick's podcast, when he shared about his motivation for becoming a better player, something he said that should give you some insight on why he's going to be an all-NBA player, why I believe he's going to be a top 10 NBA player 2 to 3 years from now, is because he knows that what separates the best from everybody else in the NBA is how much they're willing to give to the game, how much they're willing to work day in and day out. And Michael Porter Jr. has done nothing but express that he wants to be as great as he can be, and he's willing to do it. Michael Malone and Tim Connolly, if you haven't listened to it, the Denver Post, they put out a great podcast. They put out a great podcast. I think it was, I want to say 3 or 4 days ago. And they had an opportunity to talk about Michael Porter Jr. And they said, to this day, he's in the gym every night. He shows up. He goes to workouts. He's in the gym during the day, but he goes back to the gym at night. He's been trying to get Bol to come with him. So Michael Porter Jr., as young as he is, as much potential as he has, as untapped that some of that potential is, has the makings mentally and in his heart to be an exceptional player, to be a superstar player. He's not just one of those dudes that's 6'10", crazy talented, and once he scores 20 points in the game, he's good. Again, that's kind of what happened to Carmelo Anthony. If you remember Carmelo Anthony with George Karl, which I always thought was interesting how people look at Carmelo and say, oh, he wasn't this and that. Well, he was asked to be a scorer. When Jeff Bzdelik was the head coach, he was asked to be a scorer, so he wanted to give 25 and 30 every night. But when the time came, when George Karl came and he was a little bit later into his career, he was already an established offensive superstar. He didn't know how to add some of that other stuff to his game, even though he played defense here and there. The thing with Porter came in even more talented than Carmelo Anthony was. And I love Melo. But he came and he showed up and said that even though I don't understand, I'm still going to do it. I want to commit to winning culture. That bucket he had in Game 5 against the Clippers in 2020 playoffs in the second round, he hit that three-pointer to put him up 4 points. That's how he is. This year, remember, the corner shot he had against the Dallas Mavericks in the regular season put him up even more. This year, against the Portland Trailblazers in the playoffs, that corner shot that he had to put him up 3 points in overtime. That's how he is. That's his makeup. He is not afraid of the moment. 6 3-pointers in a single playoff game in the first quarter. Tied the NBA record with Devin Booker that same night. He's different. Michael Porter Jr. last year had a 64.6 effective field goal percentage, which is second all time for any player averaging 19 plus points per game. And the only player ever with a higher effective field goal percentage is Wilt Chamberlain. You ever heard of him? In 1966 to 67. So we're not just talking about somebody random, man. The dude shot 54% from the field and 45% from the three-point line on over 6 attempts a game. 6 attempts a game. And it's only going to go up from there. When Michael Porter Jr. was in, when Jamal Murray went down, he was averaging over 23 points per game on 50% from 3 and 55% from the field over like a 38-game stretch. So this ain't nothing small, you all. Like this dude has it in his bag to be a top 10 player. All he has to continue to do is get better on a natural progression. Think about the leap he took from his rookie year to his second year was one of the better second year leaps we've seen in recent memory. But he has an even better opportunity to be even better this year. And this is what I think can happen. With Kawhi Leonard out, no opportunity for him to play at least the first half of the year, if not the whole year, the West is going to be wide open at that 3 spot. I believe that Michael Porter Jr. can make that leap, not only just as a secondary piece to a contending team, but to be an all-star in the West. And this is how. Michael Porter Jr. is going to be in a situation where Nikola Jokic, and we're going to do another video on this. What can we expect from Nikola Jokic, the MVP this year? The Serbian nightmare, the Sombor shuffler. What can we expect from Jokic during the season? But next to Michael Porter Jr., Jokic is going to go crazy. But because Jokic is going to be even better, because Facundo Campazzo, Monte Morris, PJ Dozier, Will Barton, they're going to be even better because they're going to be more interlocked with Aaron Gordon. Michael Porter Jr. could be looking at 24.5 points per game on 54% from the field and 43 to 42 on the low side. 42% from the three-point line on higher volume. Like literally, I'm talking about like 9 3-pointers a game. 42%, if not higher. Because he's already done it. He's already shown he can do it. It's not a question of can he do it. And not even really the question is will he do it. It's how often he will get the opportunity to do it. Michael Porter Jr. is one of the best pure scorers that has come into the NBA in probably 25 years. I'm thinking along the lines of Kobe Bryant, Tracy McGrady, like those kind of wing scorers. Kawhi Leonard had to learn how to develop to become a scorer. That was the best year he had as a scorer last year. LeBron James came in, score. Melo came in, score. But he's different. Remember, what have I said the last year? Michael Porter Jr. shoots with Zion Williamson level efficiency from the perimeter. And that's not a joke. That's not hyperbole. That's true. Again, look at his effective field goal percentage. So if that's the case, What can we expect? I'm expecting 24.5 points per game on 53% from the field, 42 to 43% from the three-point line, about 8 to 7 rebounds per game, and then about another assist and a half with about 1 to 8, well, really 0.8 to 1.2 blocks per game on about 0.4 steals a game. And again, averaging with a contender, a top 3 potential seed without Jamal Murray at the secondary piece, 24, 7, and 1 on dumb efficiency for 40 games. Michael Porter Jr. could be looking at an all-star bid, and not an alternate, but first day selection. Come on in, come off this bench, young fella. In his age 23 season, that's what we could be looking for from Michael Porter Jr. And again, it ain't a question of can he do it. If he gets the opportunity, which he will, I believe he'll get it done because he's always gotten it done. Michael Porter Jr. is that special. Michael Porter Jr. is that good. For everybody out there wondering, is this an overpay? Again, if you're basing it on what he's done, 19-7, sure. But people need to really get with the program. In the playoffs, was he great? No. But again, was Jamal Murray great in the playoffs in his first go at it? No. Because had he had a decent average game against the Portland Trailblazers in Game 7, they would have won the game. But he shot like 4 of 17, 4 of 18 in Game 7. Yoke had to carry him. But Michael Porter Jr. is figuring it out. He's had to learn how to use his body. He's still young. There's another video where Michael Porter Jr. gets his brain examined. And again, the doctor helps him understand like what makes him special, what makes him a different kind of player. Again, go watch it. Michael Porter Jr. has the intake, has the makeup to be a superstar and to reach that $207 million. And I believe he can do it. It's not a matter of can he. It's not even a matter of will he. It's just he needs the opportunity. So I love the signing. You know how I feel about MPJ, top 10 projected player in my book. I love that, how it works with the team. I love his fit with Yoke. I love his fit with Murray. That's the thing. This is what Nuggets people need to sit back. And NBA fans, you need to sit back and appreciate this. Jamal Murray was drafted in 2016 as the 7th overall pick. That's the highest draft pick the Nuggets have had in the last several years. Nikola Jokic was the 41st overall pick in the 2014 draft. Michael Porter Jr. was the 14th pick in the 2018 NBA draft. And then we get to Aaron Gordon. Aaron Gordon just signed a 4-year, $92 million with incentives to get to $92 million. A 4-year, $92 million deal to be the two-way player, to be the big wing stopper, to be the rebounder, and to be one of the really the third or fourth facilitator on the starting lineup. That with a 6'9", 230-pound super freak athlete, that is what you pay for those players. Now you have Jamal Murray with 4 more years on this deal. You got Yoke with 3 more years on his deal, and then eligible to sign a SUPERMAX as soon as next summer for 5 years, $241 million, which he will sign. Then you get Michael Porter Jr. on a 5-year, $172 million to $207 million deal. And then you get Aaron Gordon after this year, who he's making, I think, $16 million this year. He's going to make, after that, a 4-year, $92 million deal. You're looking at, for the next 3 seasons, the impact of 4 players, 26 and under, in their prime, locked down. There's not many places that can say that. Yoke is the oldest at 26. Michael Porter Jr. just turned 23 in June. Jamal Murray this year in February, I believe, just turned 24. Aaron Gordon just turned 26 a couple weeks ago. So you have players that are entering the first year of their prime, Nikola Jokic and Aaron Gordon. And then you got players that haven't even touched their prime yet, 2 years away, Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr. This team has the potential this season to win an NBA championship when Jamal Murray gets back. See, Jamal Murray came out today. He was at the media day, asked some questions. He said, Tim Connolly said the same thing. There's no timeline in Jamal. As soon as he feels like he's ready to go at 100%, he can play. Don't matter if it's January, February, March, April, or May. As soon as he's ready, he can go. That's important. Because Jamal Murray has said that until I feel like I can do everything I was doing prior to the injury, I'm not going to play. And that's fine. But you love that we have an organization in Denver that believes the same. So here's the thing, you all. They can win it this year. I believe that with Yoke taking another step in his game, I'm not going to spoil the video. It's going to come out with him taking another step in his game. Michael Porter Jr. making an all-star step. And then you get a healthy roster. Hopefully. This team is old. They're due for a healthy season. A healthy Will Barton, a healthy PJ Dozier, a healthy Monte Morris. Remember, that changed the game last year. It wasn't just missing Jamal. Had they been healthy, that Phoenix Suns series would have looked completely different. They at least would have made it a better series. At least. But you get health on that end. You get Jeff Green integrated to come off the bench with Jermichael Green. Bol at least takes somewhat of a consistency step, a mindset change just a little bit. And then on top of that, you got Bones Highland coming off the bench. If he decides, if he can play, get some playing time, comes out of the G League and play. You have something special to still be a top 3 seed when Jamal Murray comes back. I believe they have the potential. So for this year and the next 2 to 3 years after this, they have a great window. And I'm not even saying it's closed after that. What I'm saying is they have an elite window with young players to really go on a run. Because defensively, yeah, they're going to have to figure some stuff out. But at the end of the day, the question that you have to ask is, while the Nuggets might have issues guarding Kevin Durant, which who doesn't, or Giannis Antetokounmpo, which who doesn't, or James Harden, which who doesn't, or Anthony Davis, again, which who doesn't. Now, Aaron Gordon fixes a lot of that. He's going to make it very difficult for the Kawhi Leonards, the Anthony Davises, and LeBron James, and Kevin Durant's of the world. Is he going to stop him? No. But if you look at his numbers against Luka Doncic, Kevin Durant, Kawhi Leonard, and them, he has good numbers. Good defensive rating for who they are. Those are superstars. Those are top 10 players. I'm not asking you to stop them. I'm asking you to make it as difficult as possible. Now, if that means that Michael Jordan shoots 15 to 37 from the field, great. He's Michael Jordan. What do you want to do? It's Kevin Durant, it's Luka Doncic, it's James Harden. Like, do what you do, but make it difficult. The question is, can y'all stop the Nuggets? Because that's the end of the day. Everybody keep pointing at all these stats. Well, the Nuggets have a mid-tier defense, or their defensive rating was not that great, even though they allowed like the 9th highest points per game last year, which everybody always glosses over. They only allowed the 9th highest points per game last year, I believe. So then you add a PJ Dozier into there, you mix it up, you add a Will Barton, you add a long lineup, make it difficult. The question is, are you going to stop Yoke? The question is, are you going to stop MPJ? The question is, are you going to stop Jamal Murray? The question is, in the first quarter when Will Barton always comes out gunning, are you going to stop them 10 points from hitting you, from the 4th option on that squad? Are you going to stop Aaron Gordon from getting more comfortable into the Nuggets offense, from being able to integrate himself, giving you 14, 6, and 5? Are you going to stop that? Because that's the hard part. You can say, what about the stuff they don't have? But what they do have is not just an elite offense, one of the best offenses in NBA history, with one of the best players in NBA history, around a great young core who are bought in to Michael Malone's system, who are bought into the culture, who are bought into what the Nuggets are doing. So this ain't no preseason hype video. This is simply me stating facts and telling it how I see it. Am I saying that the Denver Nuggets are the favorite to win it? Of course not. The Lakers, the Nets, the Bucks, they're going to be a problem, man. But am I concerned? No, because they have the core in place to get it done. So if you're a Nuggets fan, but really if you're an NBA fan, you should celebrate this, that the team has built from the ground up. A team has been organically built from the ground up. Through the draft, through acquiring players via trade, but again, not leveraging the future each and every year like the markets in LA and New York do, because the Nuggets can't do that. They don't have that kind of a market. But they're building through the draft. They're building organically. They're trusting in each other, trusting the process. Again, I know all the Ben Simmons trade rumors are out there. Again, I don't expect that to happen. 99% sure they ain't trading Jamal Murray. There's always that 1% you got to be open to, but they're probably not trading Jamal Murray. You have a core intact like that. MPJ locked up for 5 years at 172 to 207. Aaron Gordon locked in for 4 years, $92 million. You got something special. You should be excited. You should celebrate the fact that the MVP is the most selfless player in the NBA, alongside of people like Steph Curry and others. You should be thankful that you get to watch a team be organically built and to be a contender like this, especially in the new age NBA. So I love the Michael Porter Jr. deal. He has all-star potential this year. I love the Aaron Gordon deal. He has elite perimeter. And honestly, this is my thing. If Michael Porter Jr. is looking at a all-star to be the cap of his season, Man, I want to see Aaron Gordon contend for Defensive Player of the Year. Because if you can get that kind of production out of Aaron Gordon, that changes everything. I'm not even saying be a top 5. If Aaron Gordon can be a top 10 Defensive Player of the Year candidate, the Denver Nuggets have the best team in basketball with Jamal Murray healthy. But that's that on that. Expect another video soon, y'all. We back. And we are about to kick off the whole brand new season. And goodness, once we get to 10,000 subscribers, we going to Serbia. Belgrade, here we come, y'all. This is Swiper Cam. Follow me on Patreon at Swiper Cam. Go ahead, hit the subscribe button on YouTube. Follow me on Twitter. Let's go. Hey, we out.